Welcome to Studio 58A Live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone joining us online wherever you are around the world. We really do appreciate your eyes. Thank you very much. And like how we have your attention, do us a favor, man. Share this video with a friend or 2 or 500 so you can have a very lively discussion. And as you watch, remember to send in your questions and your comments so we can put them to our guests. Now, when last gonna take some time for big up on the garbage man? I wonder if people really understand how important the role they play in our society. I wonder if people realize how much sway our garbage men hold over our lives. You don't believe me? Make the garbage man don't come for 3 weeks. As we say in Jamaica, hell and powder house. With that in mind, we have to give thanks for our system of organized garbage collection in Jamaica, which is administered by the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA. Now, while people may have their complaints, and there's certainly always room for improvement, we truly have to give thanks for the hard work and effort put in by the workers at the NSWMA from the bottom all the way up to the top to ensure we can keep our country clean. So many countries around the world do not have organized garbage collection. So we are truly blessed in Jamaica that we have an organization that works so dedicatedly to make sure that we don't have any issues with our garbage collection. And we absolutely have to celebrate with them as they mark 20 years of operations on the country's behalf. Now, to talk about some of the plans that the agency has to celebrate this major milestone are its Executive Director, Mr. Audley Gordon, and Director of Operations, Ms. Aretha McFarlane. Welcome to the both of you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, now I'm going to start with you, Mr. Gordon. Now, 20 years, as I said, is a very major milestone for the NSWMA. Can you just, as the person sitting in the big chair and so on, can you give me just an idea of what that milestone means to you in terms of the work that the NSWMA does on the country's behalf?
Well, thank you very much again. Mine is a pleasure to communicate on behalf of the NSWMA. How happy we are that we hung around for these 20 years. But we didn't just do this on our own. We got a lot of support along the way from thousands and thousands of citizens across Jamaica who are playing their part in the Clean Jamaica campaign. This for us is huge. We look back at some of the things that we were able to accomplish, and we look at some of the challenges, and we, it's a moment also to just, recalibrate. And so there are a number of things that we intend on doing in the week itself of activities in the Environmental Week. But just to tell you that for us at the agency, we are very big on where we have arrived, where we've reached in terms of corporate governance. That's a big one, and we love to talk about that because that communicates an intent to do things properly. We want to do things properly. Much people, quite frankly, believe that this is just about taking up garbage, put it in a truck, and carry it to a disposal site. The solid waste management is also a bureaucracy with professionals that has to treat with the accounting, treat with the legal side of the ledger, treat with the human resource side of the ledger, treat with enforcement, treat with management of disposal facilities. And so there's a number of things that the public still don't really readily grasp because the average person, and maybe rightly so, they're concerned about a truck coming. They don't see the truck. When last truck come.
Exactly.
And that is the thing. So part of the programs like these, when we participate in them, is to help to educate people as to who we are and why this partnership with them is such an important one. The agency has obviously come a long way. We had a bad name. I must admit that there was a time when people associate the agency with negatives. We're talking about with corruption. Fortunately, in the last 6 years, led by the Dennis Strong board, we have begun to put a dent in that perception. Police has been called in here twice in 6 years. And guess what? We call the police. Police ourselves, we saw things that we weren't happy with, and we called the police. There was another time when it was external agencies like Accountant General and Auditor General that would call police. We are now doing that around because we are governing ourselves, and we govern under the core value attire. And A, there is for accountability, T for transparency, T for teamwork, I for integrity, R for respect, E for excellence. So that's what we put on each day. We suit up ourselves each day to come to work in the attire core. And the attire core first start with us being accountable to ourselves and to the people who pay their property taxes, the people we serve out there. So yes, this is a big moment for us, and we're looking back, we're looking where we are now, we're looking forward.
You know, it's funny that you said that, to think that NSWMA is 20 years old, because I mean, when I try age myself or date any of us, but it almost seemed like NSWMA has been here forever. 20 years seemed like a relatively short lifespan for an agency that, would be play such an integral part in the day-to-day life. I wonder if maybe, just maybe, I don't know if you can, but let me ask anyway, you can give us an idea of what used to happen before NSWMA was around?
Happy to answer that, because while NSWMA, which is the Act, the actual Act, NSWM Act, is since 2001. Certainly, garbage collection predates the Act by decades. I mean, the parish councils in each parish were responsible for the collection of garbage. And those of us old enough will remember when that used to happen. And so there were that time in our modern history when garbage was not organized and cut in the collection. It's just that the Act came in a way where we take a more holistic approach to solid waste management. And we actually have an Act that governs now how we approach it. The Acts that only speak to the responsible, for us to responsibly carry the garbage in an environmentally sound manner and to store it as such. But it also speaks to us educating people. Part of the Act is for us to educate people about how to manage solid waste properly. So yes, the Act is 2001 as our origin and is 20 years old, but garbage collection certainly predates that.
No, I want to bring Miss McFarlane into the conversation. Now, Miss McFarlane, I want to ask you, piggybacking on something Mr. Garden said a while ago, what is something that you wish more people knew about the NSWMA? As Mr. Garden said, most people just think is whether or not the truck come. It's as simple as that. It start and it end there. The truck come that week, yeah? No, truck. I would chuck them the star, but whatever, it snowballs from there. But what do you wish more people knew about the work the NSWMA does and the work that it takes, the job it takes really to oversee garbage collection across the country?
All right, thank you for that, Vaughn. So NSWMA is more than just picking up garbage. We are a family-oriented organization. We look out for the interests of our staff members, and we do, as Mr. Gordon said, public education. A school can call us, we go out, we train, we inform residents and the general populace about ways to properly manage their own waste that they generate, right? For me, I would love to see personal responsibility evolve in society, because there's so much more that we can do as a citizen to improve how we handle our waste island-wide.
That's an interesting thing you mentioned about, you both have stressed public education, and I think that is very important. I mean, just to be able to let persons appreciate how they can help you to help them to keep the country clean. And what are can you share with some of the message that you try to pass on to the different members of society when you go out and you do try to educate them? What are some of the things you want them to know about how they put their waste out so that it can help you and make the job easier and make things run more smoothly and efficiently, just in a general sense?
All right, I would like to start from the yesteryears when we were growing up, Vaughn. And I was saying to somebody yesterday that growing up, we had to get up each morning. We had to clean up our space, our immediate space, sweep the yard and sweep up outside the gate, because we were taught that this is our surrounding, the environment that which we exist in. We ought to keep that clean. And today we are seeing, a decline in that sort of behavior. People think, okay, it's solid waste, people must pick up the garbage. It's solid waste must sweep the yard. Even the littering that is happening now, people frivolously throw waste through the car windows. It's easy for somebody to just eat something and drop the bag on the road without even caring. And we are out there saying, hey, this cannot be the way forward. This is 2020. We are going into the future. And you want your environment to be so sustained that your children, your future generation will have a clean environment in which to exist in. And for me, there is no prosperous country that is dirty.
That's facts. That's absolutely true. No prosperous country that is dirty indeed. Now, Mr. Gardner, I wanted to talk to me about some of the achievements that the NSWMA have racked up. I know you mentioned that you guys are trying to hurdle like a bad reputation that, are different challenges that you would have faced in the past, but we're not focused on that today. This is your time in the sun. 20 years is a big milestone. I want people to know that one thing I always stress in doing this show is that people always tend to look at the government like a monolith. It's just this big entity that exists separate and apart from them, and so them get the leeway to cuss it and say government for this, government for that. But what we try to do is dispel that and let people appreciate that government is staffed by citizens just like themselves, who go out every day to give their best efforts on the country's behalf, because they're interested in seeing the country realize its potential and achieve its best version, right? And so we know that the people who come to NSWMA come and you come to do your work, you come to do the best that you can, make a difference in the country. So talk to me about the ways in which you have been steadily working to make that difference and be that organization that really impacts the country positively through solid waste. Massive collection, right?
Thank you very much again for the opportunity to reel off some of our, I don't want to say solid achievement, but some of our achievements. Sir, when I got to the NSWMA 6 years ago, this NSWMA was 10-led board again. We spent sleepless nights working with our accounts department to make sure that we tidy that up. And today, for the last 3 years, we not only have proper audited financials, but they are filed on time. Now that's huge. Although you can sell that to the average person who wants a garbage truck to come for some garbage.
Oh no, people need to understand just how huge that is, because to run any business is simple facts. If the books are not in order, chaos will reign, and basically anything bad can happen. And it starts, right. And to properly run an organization, you have to have a house in order. And getting your house in order, that sells itself, that speaks for itself, right? So continue.
Right. So with the audited financials and the annual reports that are filed on time, those are for us, because if you should do the research and public bodies around Jamaica, of the hundreds of them that exist, we are in the top 10 when it comes to filing our annual report or audits on time. And I can't stress that enough how important it is for us. We also, thanks to the leadership again of the board, working with us and the internal the leadership, we're able to so organize our affairs that we compete in the Corporate Governance Award, the annual Corporate Governance Award. And we not only compete to make our numbers, we're able to win awards at the Corporate Governance Award. We were able to win for policies, procedures, and practices. right? We want the Corporate Governance Award for policies, procedures, and practices. We also at one stage got the Most Improved Public Body Award. So there are efforts being made, but there are also people are also taking notice and duly rewarded those efforts. We have developed a number of policies, too much to mention here, but just to give you some couple of the important ones, like the whistleblowing policy and the sexual harassment policy. We have those working in at the NSWMA now, and we have taken extraordinary steps to protect people who want to. So if I am doing something wrong, who would they report it to? They can't report it to me, or we put in place measures for external reporting from a board member. For example, we have situations where we even at one stage engage Crime Stop, which is highly confidential, for people to go to if they're not comfortable internally to report things. We want to set the bar high for the NSWMA, and the whistleblowing policy is a key one to help us in that regard. And also sexual harassment policy. Nobody should come to work and feel pressured in the very least because somebody made any advances, whether verbally or otherwise, and then they must feel comfortable when they come to the NSWMA to work. And that is something we consider a big accomplishment to put those policies in place. This one is another big one. I can't say how important it is because I don't think you have 5 public bodies in Jamaica with the enterprise risk management framework. We got a consultant from, was it Pricewaterhouse? Yes. And they came in, they trained our entire management corps and director corps in risk management. And we now have in place a proper risk management framework with the duties assigned to 2 of our managers to oversee that very important part of our day-to-day operations. Staff training at the NSWMA is second to none. We are training people at a rate that right now we're getting scared because they're getting so qualified we can't pay them.
Yeah, that's that problem.
But somebody asked me, what if you train them and they leave? And I replied, what if I don't train them and they stay?
Well, absolutely.
You see? So it is something that is a risk that we take, train the people. And so right now we have record numbers of people that have been trained in procurement at the imprint. Almost every month we have a team going on. But procurement is very big in government these days, as you well know. And industrial relations, where people train industrial relations in standard and safety, taxation, government accounting. And as we finish with 2, we're looking for the next 2 to set. That's how we're doing it, because we want the people to be empowered. We want to lift the people up, because we believe that the better when you develop the people, when the people develop to a point, they bring the organization with them. And that's where we want to go. So capacity building is big on our agenda here. And we are proud to boast that we are doing a great job and turning out record numbers of people who have benefited from additional training. With regards to our most important category of worker, and I know that I will have some explaining to do to the other members of staff, but I will take that prize. I will start up. But my sanitation workers.
Yeah, but we already know them. They are the most. I mean, nothing personal to the other workers. I respect everybody, but nothing personal. We don't see them every day. We see the sanitation workers every week.
They are the face of the organization. The average person, that big lady up in Slykoville, that lady over in Bosco Bay, that man down in Johnson, they don't know all the gun. They don't see all the gun. They might see on television. But they know the side man. They know that guy who come week after week on the truck. So we call them our most important category of workers, and rightly so. We were able to do 2 increases for them in the last for 4 and 5 years, and no, 3 increases, sorry, and it took them from 1,200 a day to over 2,500 a day. Now, I'm sure there are some people right now that are holding their stomach and say, wait, it's so cheap. That's what they get for salary? Yes, they are among the lowest paid. And we have steadily over the last 5 years worked to double their pay, and we are not true. Because we still believe that's not what they worth. They worth far more than that. So we are working to improve life for sanitation worker, and we consider that somewhat a good achievement, because whatever we do it, if we are not taking care of people's welfare, the human resource that drives the organization, if their welfare is not being attended to, we are failing. And so we not only give them a little more on their pay, but we also put them in uniform. So when you see them without the uniform, you must take the number of the truck and you must call, because we give them the uniform, an adequate amount of uniform. And when they wear the uniform, they get so much commendations. We get so much calls at the office, especially from the ladies. They like to see them properly.
Well, Mr. Gordon, I have to stick a pin with him. I get a comment here online, and is a bit of a critique. But I like to send these comments because this represents what the public, because they have the opportunity to talk to Mr. Gardner, head of NSWMA, and express themselves, without necessarily feeling a particular way. So I get a question, let me tell you, it's kind of sticky, but I'm going to ask you same way, because I feel like, these are the questions that you need to hear. This is the person's real opinions, all right? So this question is coming from Isoke Fari. I hope I pronounced that right. She's saying, tell them to stop sending extortionists to collect the garbage. When we bag the garbage and neatly stack them, we are still given tickets after the trucks refuse to collect them. The garbage collectors demand money to collect the garbage and get aggressive if you don't tell them how much they demand or something like that. I guess you get the general gist of the question. I mean, typically we might filter things out, but when persons ask these questions, it's important because that's the function of the show. Put persons in connection with the persons, like you said, that they can hear their opinions.
So I'm very happy for that. I call that a loving rebuke.
Mm-hmm.
If it is that any operative of the NSWMA demand money from the public when they come on our trucks or on any truck, whilst they're out there on behalf of the NSWMA, firstly, it should not be complied with. And I would want, without exposing themselves, that they take the plate number of the truck, or they can go back inside, take a quick picture or video or something, and let me have that so I can action it. Because that's not who we are. But in every organization, you will have people who breach the code. You will have people who go out of the lane. And we want to know when that happens. So the person said something about garbage that are left when the people come and demand money. If it is cuttings, like grass cuttings and tree cuttings and all that, we have a challenge carrying the amount of that. So we have narrowed that down to 2 bags. And we ask to make private arrangement, because we just don't have the trucks to be carrying 30-yard bags of cutting from one gate, sometimes 20-yard bags of cutting from one gate. So we will take 2 and we ask people to dispose of those. And we are also coming in to talk to you about composting too, because some of those things don't need to leave your bare. They can be used back in the flower bed if you just know the simple composting methodology that can break it down and make soil nutrients for your flower bed and your kitchen garden and so on. But assuming that this is household garbage that was left, that's a no-no, and I apologize for that. I'd ask the person who to give me better details that I can action, because that's not who we are.
All right, so I saw okay, Farry. I hope you heard Mr. Gardner a while ago. He just gave you a detailed answer as to what the situation is. Hopefully, if you have any more questions, anything else you want to talk to Mr. Gardner or Ms. McFarlane about, they're right here. This is why we have the show. We want to put you in contact with them so that, if you have an issue, if you have something you can hear, we can talk and have some conversation going back and forth rather than people sit down in one corner, kiss them teeth, and then, things kind of fester because they're not being addressed. All right, so just keep them coming. We want the comments coming, and most importantly, I want y'all to big up your garbage man, because if them come in and do the work that many of us wouldn't necessarily want to do, but they do it. They take our garbage away and keep our communities clean and lovely. And while I'm at it, let me big up Courtney, who is one of the guys on the trucks that come to where I live. What's so special about Courtney is that even though we big up all of the truck collectors who come and them collect the garbage, like my house is down on a lane off from the main, and Courtney was one of the few garbage men who actually come down in a lane, knock on your gate and tell us that the garbage truck coming and will help to take the garbage out of your yard up to the truck and so on. And so we have to big up Courtney for that. Always doing a great job. Him and all the one them who come to Health Shop. Big them up still, because, you know, them consistently come and do a good job when them come, all right? So, you know, just wanted to express that. And in the comments, I would like you all, those of you watching, big up your garbage man if you remember them name, or big up the truck man, then big up everybody. We got one from Charnel who's saying he has to big up her sanitation workers in her area because they stick to the schedule and garbage is collected weekly. Plus they sound their horns to let residents know the truck is there and bring out our garbage. So them doing a good work. And Shauna K. Salmon saying big up to all sanitation workers, especially those in my area. So yeah, I get some big ups for the most important set of workers over there at the NSWMA. We're kind of biased, so I'm just as biased as you, Mr. Garden. I think they are the most important set of workers, but that's just me. If anybody cuss, well, I hope them still collect me garbage anyway, all right? No bad me.
And your viewers and listeners should know that we have also a mobile app. And that's one of our accomplishments that was launched a couple of years ago. And we are reaping a lot of success from that app. And they just need to type NSWM app on any of the platforms there. They go to Play Store. They will be happy to see that how easy it is to interact with us in terms of complaints, concerns, suggestions, things like what they call the person wrote in earlier. And they just probably take a pic and send to us through that app. Maybe before the truck reach the top of the road, some actions would have been taken. Once we have the information, once we can action it, we take the action. So all listening, all viewing, once you see anything that don't look good, if they don't just come, they're supposed to come, they're supposed to be courteous, they're supposed to take up your garbage and leave. Once you see them come and they want to demand anything of you and all that, it's not the NSWMA you see. You see somebody who has gone outside of their mode of operation. So you just need to report it to us. We need to get the information.
All right. Ms. McFarlane, I want to bring you into the conversation as well. I want if you can pick up her. I'll join in with Mr. God in terms of talking about some of the more memorable achievements for you having during your time at NSWMA and what you've seen happen, and some of the ways in which the NSWMA is improving their service and being more efficient on the public's behalf.
All right, just to pick up, just before I answer that question, I just want to piggyback on what Mr. Gordon said earlier, because whilst we have sanitation workers, a few that may go out of line, we also have residents who are also asking them, engaging them whilst they are on duty to pick up what they are not supposed to be picking up. And we're going to ask the public not to do that. It's for a number of reasons. They are not permitted to do any personal work whilst on the government's job. And secondly, the units, we don't have a lot of collection units, and some things cannot go into the compactor. It damages the hydraulics, and as such, that truck will have to be in the garage for extended period, thus causing other persons not to benefit from the service. So we're going to ask the residents not to engage the teams that you see out there for any private work. You can contact the NSWMA or another private hauler to handle any waste that you want to move outside of your regular residential needs. All right, so that was just to add to that point.
Right.
Yes. So what we are most proud of now, the stigma has shifted from the negative stigma has shifted for the most part. People are taking the NSWMA more seriously now. What we have been doing, we are committed to what we are doing, serving the public. As I said before, we train our staff, we work with our citizens, we provide training. We have been doing a lot of various initiatives. The Drum at the Gate is a recent one, a pilot. It's a partnership between Hardware and Lumber and NSWMA. We issue drums into densely populated areas. We work with citizens in the areas to containerize. And when I say containerize, to baggage your garbage, to package it, so that when the truck comes, we can leave out of your area more quickly and get into another area. And we have seen compliance. So we have been working more with the citizens. Those who wish to participate, they do. And yes, a lot of persons do participate. We have been separating at stores. We have 33 communities now doing plastic separations. We would have collected over 190,000 pounds of plastics. We are partnering with other entities like RPJ that takes those plastics from us. So there's more awareness how to care for the environment. We're telling persons, don't litter, don't throw your garbage in the gullies and the other waterways, and this is a message that I would like to get out there more. How people dispose of their garbage responsibly, right? Do not throw it in the gullies, do not throw it in the rivers, do not throw it anywhere in any trench. Don't throw your garbage in there, because what that does is cause flooding. When the water passage is blocked up with garbage, the water has nowhere to go but to flood you out. So we want that cultural shift. We will be working with our citizens more to get that cultural shift for more responsible waste management. So yes, we would have made strides there, and we will continue to do just that. We just concluded a pilot project in Chambers Pen, where we worked with farmers, 9 farmers and 10 persons in the community to improve waste management in those areas. We did a composting pilot. We now have 9 people practicing composting in that area. We have 10 persons collecting plastics. That area had a problem where persons would dump plastic bottles in the river. And now that has changed. That culture is shifting. And that is a big achievement for the NSWMA. This is something we plan to replicate in other communities. And we are also here to help any community that is interested in learning about composting, learning how to separate your plastics and your other waste. And also, we teach about the benefits of doing so, because there is value to be derived from separating even your plastics. RPJ will pay you for it. So there's some economic benefit there for persons. Even the composting, you can sell it. Right? Mm-hmm. It's a market, it is the organic type of fertilizer. Most persons now are health conscious and consider the different health risks associated with what they consume. So you have healthier food when you use the organic fertilizer. So we are teaching that, we are pushing that, and that's a trust for us. And we have been making strides in that area.
All right, so let me switch tack. I want to focus because, as we said, we're here primarily to reinforce the fact that you guys are celebrating your 20th anniversary, and that's a big deal. I know that you must have some activities planned. What can the public look out for and lend some support to as you observe this major milestone? What are some of the activities that you have planned?
All right, so we'll be all over Jamaica. We'll be in the Rio Grande Valley. We'll be in MB. We'll be in... forget the name of the beach over in Montego Bay. We'll be in Alligator Pond. We'll be in a number of places. We'll be in Mandela Park, all over. We'll be publishing a menu of activities for the week. But what we'll be out doing is spreading the message, pretty much what we're talking about here. We'll be talking about composting a lot. We'll be talking a lot about that personal responsibility, because we are responsible for the solid waste that we generate. And I don't think most people appreciate that point. that we are in fact responsible for the solid waste that we generate. There are benefits to a clean surrounding, and we must communicate that and communicate it more effectively, that we get more buy-in. We cannot continue to litter at will, and we must talk about the way we litter randomly in Jamaica. You travel along any main road, you look at the side of the main road. Whereas when you push the main road, the amount of travel waste that you see there, that's from vehicle and traffic flying the routes. Why would we feel comfortable just throwing things through the window of a motor vehicle? So those are things we have to be talking to people about. But how do you get a person to appreciate that this is a benefit to them? When you keep the place clean, it's a benefit to them. Well, long before I showed up here, people study these things and they have come up with several benefits from a clean environment. One of them is that it helps with your thinking. You think positively, you feel better about yourself, and that impacts your productivity. It enhances your performance at work when you have a clean surrounding. There are several companies that sometimes do a refurbishing, and the studies are that once the refurbishing is finished and the newly painted things, you brought in some new furniture stuff, that the staff are just happy and just excited at work and everything because of the new and the freshness and the cleanness. We want to communicate to people that this is doing yourself a benefit. When you keep your place clean, it is doing you a benefit. Jamaica's duty must be our collective duty. It cannot be left to the agency and the guys on the truck to come and clean up. One of the things that we have to go, we've been talking a lot about in the week, is containerization. Why? Containerization is where we believe we can really have game-changing effect on society. Let me tell you why. I'm going to give you several benefits of containerization. One, when you properly containerize your garbage, you keep down the flies and the maggots and all those things that you don't like, and it's causing for a healthier environment. Now, one bag of non-containerized garbage, one bag, create an unsightly mess and an offense that 10 bags of garbage properly containerized don't create. One bag scattered out. If you bag 10 bags of garbage, you'd have driven past it and don't even know that it's garbage because it's properly containerized. The other thing is, and Aretha spoke to it, when the garbage is not containerized and the rain comes, that same garbage will ride the water and clog your drains and your gullies, and you know the consequences thereof.
Right.
2. 3, when we go out to collect, we estimate that we'll spend 2 to 3 minutes at a stop. And that's a big stop for us. When the garbage is not containerized and we have to be raking up and shoveling up and bagging up, we are spending sometimes 1 hour cleaning up garbage. What that does is deprive the truck, that the other community that's waiting on that truck. Remember, we don't have enough trucks, so we need to move along efficiently. That kind of inefficiency created by the non-containerized garbage deprives other community of their collection. Because the quicker the truck move around, the more we can get to collect within an 8-hour shift. So the backlog that we currently have, a lot of it is due to non-containerized garbage.
But what do you mean by containerization, though? Some persons might hear that and think, what does that mean exactly? When we container, when we put it out of the word, it contain, so to speak.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So containerizing is another way of saying properly package, bag up the garbage, properly package the garbage so that it's not scattered out. And I know that you have listeners and viewers who will say, yeah, but I package my garbage and them take so long to cook, so the dogs scatter it out and the cows scatter it out. And so we have another problem too with stray animals. How much country really go in and say animals just stray all over the place? Like around the place. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
We are still saying, go back to the point I made earlier, that we are responsible for the solid waste that we generate. And what that will tell you is that we ought to have proper receptacles at our gates, and we ought to properly package our garbage and put in those receptacles. Now, the citizens have to pay their part. If you resign your receptacle, I'm not putting any receptacles out here, that I'm not buying any garbage back, we have a problem. We have a big problem. And it is all of us problem. So we try to build out a partnership when we move around Jamaica. And we'll be doing that a lot this week, the coming week, to get people to appreciate that when you actually put a proper receptacle out your gate, when you invest in garbage bags, when you properly containerize your garbage, you are doing more than just putting out garbage. You are contributing to a clean environment, a clean Jamaica. You are playing your part.
So let me just to stick a pin. I don't want to belabor the point, but I want to just make sure that we get things clear. Because, for example, you have your household, you have your bin or your drum or your old metal can, whatever the case may be. And you have some persons who will buy the garbage bags and put them in the house and so on and say, all right, well, when they're done, you take the garbage that's inside the house, put it in the garbage bag and you take it and you drop it in the container outside. But there are also persons who, for example, you will just have the bin in the house. You don't necessarily have a garbage bag in it. You might have a cover or a lid or something to keep down the smell, whatever the case may be. And then when you go outside and you just turn that bin upside down into the metal container, or whatever receptacle you have outside for your garbage, and you leave that, and then the garbage truck come and take up whatever is in that big receptacle, tossed in the back of the truck, and that. But what you're saying is that you want more persons to take the time to put the garbage in bags to properly containerize it, because that makes a much bigger, that it's easier for you to manage in that regard when the trucks come to collect. I just want to be clear where that is concerned.
All right. So it's better for three reasons, but let me just tell you why it's better to properly bag the garbage. When you throw the peeling, skin, you throw everything, the meat, cutting, you throw all those things in your drum out your kit, you very soon can pass that drum in peace with the odor. Also the flies and all the you don't want to be breeding flies at your gate. You're eating, you have to be content with all these flies. So we are saying, we are health workers, we believe in the health of the people. And the Solid Waste Act is clearly puts us in a position to safeguard the health of the population. So we have to tell you the best practice. We know that some people won't adhere, and we are trying to get them to come on board. But that's the best practice that I've just outlined to you just now, right? And when you do it like that, you are safeguarding your health, right? You don't give the opportunity for the rodents and all them things to take over your property, right? You properly containerize your garbage. So we always encourage that, and we will continue to encourage that. Right? But I was telling you another negative from non-containerization, not only does it delays the truck, but while the men are there raking up and bagging up, we have to keep the truck in full throttle because the compactor won't work if the engine is off. So we're actually wasting fuel and we're going nowhere. So that's another one. The other one is look at the extra work that it gives to the sanitation worker. Their job is already very, very difficult. And when they have to come and clean up behind, and rake up and all that, that's extra work you're giving them. So the kind of production time that I would get out of them, I don't get it. So containerization is just negative. Non-containerization is negative all over. You can't find any positive that comes from non-containerization. And we will be pushing that hard in the coming week as we celebrate. Because we believe if we could get that shift with more people containerizing their garbage, it will be a win-win for us. The other thing we'll be pushing is composting. I'll tell you about composting in a minute, because composting, just allowing us to tell you that 67 to 70% of the garbage that we currently use a taxpayer-funded truck to carry to a disposal site. could be converted to rich soil nutrient that Mr. McFarlane told you about earlier. Why should we buy fertilizer when we can make compost a source, and the compost will even give you a better yield on your crop than the fertilizer that you pay so much money for? When you look at the percentage of the garbage that's compostable, were we to get that out and more people do composting, we would need less trucks, smaller disposal facilities, and we wouldn't probably be having this conversation because nobody would be complaining about garbage at their gate. Because 30% that they put out, when we separate the plastics and send it to recycling partners of Jamaica, there will be precious little left there to collect. And we will be more regulating, making sure that people are doing the composting right and doing their recycling.
All right. So just to be clear, the week of celebrations or week of activities is from say Sunday, because I would imagine things typically begin with our church service. So that's the 5th to the 10th or so. Just for persons who might not necessarily be clear, just to when exactly or will you be having your week of celebrations?
Start on Sunday, come in the 5th, and it end this Saturday following. And yes, you're right. It starts with the church service at Webster Memorial Church, 8 a.m. Come on down and celebrate with your sidemen and your drivers and your people from the agency. We will be there out in our numbers, and we will have a great time in worship as we kick off the solid waste week. And it will end the following Saturday. This one you can't come and take a break. And you know what? We worked right through COVID. Right for the 2 years, exactly. We didn't get the memo. We didn't get the memo to turn your yard, and so we had to come right through the COVID. So it's time is long, as I say up here, long time we don't have the nice time. So we go have out a bit and celebrate with each other a little, yeah.
Can't grudge enough for that one there at all. Not at all. Not at all. You definitely deserve that moment. Really enjoy and just celebrate together and enjoy where you guys are coming from and the work that you've been doing. Up to date over these 20 years to really just make sure that the organized garbage collection runs efficiently in the country. As we say, there's always room for improvement, and persons will always have criticisms and things like that. But the focus is that you continue to give your best on the country's behalf to make sure that our garbage is collected and all the attendant benefits flow from that. It's clear. As we say, make a garbage don't get collect for 3 weeks and you will know which God you serve. It's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? I guess I just want to bring things down. Ms. McFarlane, for you now, in terms of looking forward and the kind of activities or the kind of path or trajectory that NSWMA is on and your overall vision to serve the public, what are you shooting towards as you work to serve the public and make sure that the agency is the kind of agency that members of the public can be proud of and the country at large can really hold up as one of the real pillars of public service in the country?
For me, continuous improvement in training again of our human resource and also the partnership with citizens. We will continue to train them because we have to break this apparent chronic dysfunctional behavior as it relates to persons not taking responsibility for their garbage. So we look forward to pushing more public education, getting the buy-in from the public, and continue to improve. As Mr. Gordon said, we have been investing a lot in training because we want NSWMA to be the place that you will come to work and want to stay, not to look somewhere else to go for another job, but to stay here and build on what we have here already. But before we go, I would like to take this opportunity though to just pick up the sanitation workers, the sweepers, the connectors. We have our supplementary contractors who have been a total strength to this organization. And without them, the whole garbage collection activities would not have been possible. Also, those equipment service providers on our disposal sites. We appreciate them and we just want to send a big shout out and a big love to them.
Right. And for me, I just want to say that I know that they are behind in many communities. We've never hide away from the fact that the service is not really where it should be in terms of the wider Jamaica and how we come and how we schedule your collection. We really want to run a better schedule. We really want to be on time, but we are suffering from a chronic shortage of reliable units. However, there's some good news. We have just completed the procurement exercise for 50 new garbage trucks, and that having been completed, now we are in the phase now where we are getting the supplier the necessary documentation for the supplier to manufacture it, and then we have a shipping time of about 6 weeks to 2 months. Now, if all goes well, we can have the trucks here by the back end of November, and so we should see a cleaner Christmas. I will say to you that there are some factors that are external, far beyond our control.
Absolutely.
And with the supply chain, what it is today, we could have a little hiccup here and there. Let us pray that everything goes smooth and that we can get the trucks by the back end of November, that we can roll into your community with some new trucks and begin to get your blood pressure down, and you can stop because you can stop for a moment. But we are trying the best with what we have, and just figure that the people deserve some commendation for the patience, because truth be told, they could have been doing us much worse than they're currently doing. And a lot of them understand where we are, and they are trying to do their best to work with us.
All right. Before I kind of bring things down and wrap up, I just have one last thing to raise with you. I guess I have here fire mitigation measures at the disposal site, because you know the whole dust nuisance, air pollution. That you know it go already, Mr. Misaga. You know what is going on. So just talk to people about what's going on with that.
I am happy to say that we are doing a far superior job to what obtains in terms of the management of our disposal facilities. First of all, we managed to get environmental permit for some of our disposal facilities, which weren't in place. And that's another big achievement that we look at this juncture also. But we are managing the disposal sites in a way now I can boast of more operational competence on my sites, in that when we do have fires now, as you will have all over the world, you have disposal sites suffer from what I think called spontaneous combustion. That can have a lot of gases compete other than garbage that is a compressor at the disposal site. And when we do have these spontaneous combustions, now we are putting out fires before the public know about most of them. For example, Riverton. When Riverton used to burn one time, my God, 6 weeks, schools closed, all those things. We don't have those things these days, thank God, because we have managed we have taken a different approach to the management of the disposal facility. Yes, we do have issues. We had one in Montego Bay, but even that fire, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, that fire would have gone on for weeks. We put that out in 2 days and battle the smoke and get the smoke under control in another 3. So within 5 days, there was no sign of smoke at that landfill. We are doing things better. We want the public to understand that we don't take pride in creating the slightest nuisance. We don't want them to be coughing. We don't want no asthma to rise upon them. That's not what we go to work to do. But from time to time, we do have issues. And when we have issues, our duty then becomes to put it out as quickly as possible. I am to report that we are doing significantly better now on that front.
All right. So last word I'll just give to you, Ms. McFarlane. Once again, just let the public know how they can help you to help them, make the garbage collection process, make the whole process much easier, and just, make a harmonious relationship between you guys and them. I mean, it's a give and take on both sides, but at the same time, just to reinforce that all members of the public also have a job to play insofar as making sure that the waste collection and waste disposal process runs smoothly.
All right, so what I would like for the public to do is to package your garbage. Some persons may find it difficult to appreciate the word containerization. It may be in a box if you have a box. It may be in a bag, depends on what you have. Use that to containerize your garbage so that we can have a more efficient operation. We would also like for persons not to litter, do not throw things. And I'm speaking now mainly to some taxi operators, bus operators. You have passengers in your vehicle. Please do not allow them to just throw things through the car windows. You can have a little container in your car. They can put their garbage in until you are able to dispose of it properly. It is a collective effort between the NSWMA and residents to ensure that Jamaica is kept clean. Right? So let us do as much as we can. Don't throw things in the waterways, as I said. Don't drop it on the road. Don't throw it through your car window. Wait till you have access to a bin and dispose of it responsibly. So it's one Jamaica. Make we clean up the place and keep it clean. Jamaica's duty is our collective duty.
Simple as that. Couldn't say it better myself. So there you have it, people. June 5th to 11th. NSWMA is going to be having, a whole week of celebrations in honor of their 20th anniversary. Lend some support, show some support. Begins with a church service at Webster Memorial United Church on June 5. And then they're going to be having a bunch of sensitization activities all over the country to just spread the gospel about making sure the country stay clean. And as we as Jamaican people, we must appreciate that the country will look good. We like when people come and enjoy the country and say, oh, the country look good and everybody can come enjoy themselves. The natural beauty of the country shines through. It is our responsibility to play a part in maintaining that by keeping the place clean. As Ms. McFarlane said, take care of your garbage, put it away properly, containerize from everybody from top all the way down to the bottom, but especially our sanitation workers and the persons who interact with the public most of all. They are the persons who you see, they are essentially the face of the organization. So we have to big them up for the work with them do. All right. With that said, I think it's time for us to wrap. Thank you to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who had your comments. And if you have a question and you'd like to send it in, go ahead. We'll go through afterwards and we'll be able to get the right information to you so that you can find out what's going on with NSWMA. All right. Now, remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. So if there's anyone in particular you'd like us to have in studio, let us know. We'll try to have those persons in studio as soon as possible. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. And while you're at it, check out NSWMA too. And as Mr. Gordon just said, them have an app now. Big things, technological things. They can jump on the app, make a complaint, find out everything that's going on, all the different ways in which you can use the app to interact with the agency so you can understand what's going on with them and, maintain that two-way relationship where you can reach out to them if something's going on and have them make the adjustment. All right. We do this every week live on Facebook and YouTube. And I've been your host, Vaughn Davis. This has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you so much for joining us and please have a wonderful day and good day to both of you as well. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All the best.
All right, you too.